We're walking up a mountain, actually one that's been freshly logged and deep in Upshur County, West Virginia. And we're coming out to do just some ramp digging. So stay tuned with us as we do this. Which is awesome. So we're gonna get up here and see if we can find some patches. When you're looking for ramps this time of year, the woods are pretty bland coming out of winter. There's not a lot of green in the collar here. So you're looking for really bright emerald green collar. And I think I saw some over here. Where do they grow? They really like steep rocky hillsides anymore because that's where people haven't dug them out. There is a market hunting culture going on right now where people are just going out and devastating ramp patches. And it's taken like the easy patches, it's just absolutely taking them out. So those weren't ramps. We know there was ramps on this mountain last year, but it did get logged pretty heavy, which shouldn't have disturbed all of them. I'm sure it's bothered some of them, but we'll go ahead and keep climbing up the mountain here in a minute and take a look. But one thing about ramps, and they're getting to be like morel mushrooms. If you find a patch, you know, carefully dig them. Don't dig everything out. Some people even take scissors and top them just for salads and stuff, and don't eat the bulb. The bulb, though, is very tasty. But don't take people to your ramp patch, because before long you won't have a ramp patch. And you'll hear me say that about mushrooms also. People don't realize how steep it is in the country we're in. You know, we don't have 14,000 foot peaks, but we have areas where the mountain goes straight up. And these are the areas we hunt and we track in and we forage and gather in. It's what we love and what we've been dealing with for years. So we're used to it, kind of. Be nice to be flat, especially during tracking season. I don't know that my dogs know what to think if we're tracking in cornfields and flatland. Okay, I'm thinking we might have us some ramps. Yes, we do. But, we have some right here and some right here. Let's go over here. This probably was a big patch. You see some stragglers right through here at one time before the log job. But we're gonna get in here and do some digging. Here's some good ramps right here. digging in the woods, you know, you're dealing with a lot of roots and rocks. So I like a heavy mattock. Chrissy likes a hand mattock, but I like that heavy one so it can pop rocks, get down underneath this stuff. So we're starting to get a pile, and I wanted to show you this. This is a trout lily. That little yellow flower, it's going to be beautiful here another week or so. But they like to pop in here where these ramps are growing. Well, I'm going to get back to it and try to pop a few more of these out and then get them bagged up and go to another patch, because I don't want to dig them all out of this patch. There's a rock in there, which doesn't help getting roots with those. I think we only cut off one. There's reach down in there and bring up the roots. One of the things I wanted to show you is these are what are known as wide leaf ramps, and their bases are red. See that red collar? Okay, we were just showing you the clumps over there, how they're grown in clumps. And if you dig into those clumps, you'll discover that on these red-based wide leaf variety of ramp, that you'll find plants with 2 leaflets and some with 3. And here's a couple with 3. Now, I am not a ramp botanist, but I've always been told that those are the female plants, and the female plants put up a flower, and then it becomes a seed pod that looks like this. I'm going to hold it up there close to you. And so you can come through here before these ramps peak up. If you have an idea of where they're at, look for these dried seed pods laying on the ground, and you can even dig ramps before they top up if you want some really strong bulbs. Now let me show you these bulbs on these ramps. When we get down and can get down below them, we like to pop them like that, and they have a root on them. So I have the option of replanting that plant if I want to. But when you're in real rocky soil, this will happen. You'll pop the bulb. Now, as long as that bulb stays in that soil with that root, there'll be another ramp come up there next year. That's why I said some people take scissors and just come out and top them just to eat the green part. We like the bulbs also, and we just try not to dig aggressively, like take out a whole patch. We just dig a few out of a patch, move to the next one. That way they can see. Now, ramp seed is a neat thing. The ramp seeds that fell off this past summer are not sprouting this spring. They will sprout next spring. So that's something to keep in mind about ramps. I'm going to start getting some of these ramps bagged up. That's a pretty good clump there. And then we have another bunch over here. But if anybody has any information on ramps, any more information than what I've given so far, we sure would love to hear it and share it with the rest of the gathering community out there. So comment below. Tell us what you know about ramps or wild leeks. I know some of you Pennsylvanians and New Yorkers call them wild leeks. So we'd love to hear about it. I know in some areas of the country they grow in swamps. In our area, they like the rocky hillsides. I think they used to grow everywhere according to the old timers here. But like I said, people are kind of lazy. So they dug everything down low. And all that's left now is the stuff that's in the mountains and the tough places to get. So comment below, give us some more information about ramps if you have it. That way we can educate more people out there. Now the way we like to transport ramps out of the woods, some people use a backpack, which I do, but we use a feed sack. We can kind of know how many we need according to how much in a feed sack we have. Like right here's a pretty good pile. And our goal today is to get Chrissy and I each to get about a half of a feed sack and then call it a day in this patch. So as you can see, there's about an eighth, and gonna get back to it. Okay, so while I was digging down here, let me see if I can find it. Yep, right there it is. I noticed another spring flower I wanted to show you. You'll see these on the mountainsides a lot. Let's get down here in this treetop. That's a trillium, a white trillium, and three leaflets on its stem and 3 petals on its flowers. That's one reason it's reason it's called a trillium. Here we are, back to digging. That's some nice ones. So I hit this patch over here by this poplar stump. You can see where I dug. I tried to cover up my holes, but how many I left. And let's get gathered up here. There's a bunch of them here. This is actually a pretty good little patch. Oh, I dropped a leaf. I'll come back and get that here in a second. I do not like to waste. These are so good, and they're once a year. I mean, we make ramp salt. We dehydrate leaves and stuff and the bulbs, and we will put it through a food processor and mix it in with Himalayan pink salt and make ramp salt, which is good to add to food throughout the year. But you can see that's a pretty good pile. That's going to get us close on our sack, what we were looking for. These flowers here, now like I said, I'm not a botanist, so I'm not for sure exactly what kind of flower this is. I'll have to look it up. But when you look out at the distance, you can see out through the distance, it's really bright green. And that'll throw you off, make you run over and take a look to see if it's a ramp. And there are some ramp lookalikes out there that you can dig that can make you kind of sick. So you should study them. But the first thing is just tear a leaf off of any plant and smell it. That does not smell like a ramp. A ramp has a strong garlic leek smell. This does not, so don't dig these. Deep ground logging. Takes out 10% of your crop. Timber, ramp, ginseng, by putting in roads to get to trees. Horse logging. Horse and mule. Then they just pick the horses up and skid straight down the hill with no roads. And you can't ever tell a logger's been there in about 2 or 3 years. So Chrissy and I went back to the house and we grabbed the mushroom baskets and the side-by-side and decided to come out and hit some of our black morel patches. It's April 16th here in the mountains, and everything's just a little behind because we're usually picking morels for the last 3 or 4 weeks, you know, starting the end of March, and then we're starting to get into our gray and white season. But we're finding very few grays, no whites, but we are finding some black ones. So we're cruising a patch here. So here's another one of those indicator trees that's really good. Big yellow poplar. It's on disturbed soil. You can see the rocks pushed over from the strip mining activity. It has grapevines growing all around it. So that's a good indicator. Now, does that mean there's morels right here right now? Maybe not, but I'm pretty sure there will be when this weather straightens up. So I'm going to be hitting a couple more trees in this little patch, and then we're probably going to go hit another patch and see what we can find, see if we find any. So we ventured back in here today to the good old mother of all poplar trees patch, and not seeing a lot, but right here is one. Right there. Now, one of the things to keep in mind about these morels is they get full of little tiny bugs and little slugs, and you just kind of got to give them a rinse overnight, soak them. I put just a touch of salt in it, not a heavy salt water, just a touch, and it seems to bring all of them out to the surface. Dump that out, rinse them again, and while I'm sitting here, I see another really good sized one over here. So let's go over to it. And this is another reason why I like to sit down and get on these morel levels. And you can look around and see them as you scan out away from you. I see another one over here that's a little burned up. I see two. There's one hiding under a leaf. Just right over here in the middle of the picture. So let's go over here. See, and sometimes they like to hide. Actually, now I've got 3 spotted here. But the nice thing when they hide like this, look how big that one is. That's a good sized black morel. They're not getting burnt. And I'm looking around, and there's 4 or 5 right here. There's one up under the leaves, but this one got frostbit, but it's still edible. You just cut the tip of it off. Let's get this good one. And then here's one getting ready to pop out. See how easy he broke. Let's get him out of there before somebody steps on him. And then there's one right here. And then I saw one above me there. And one right here as we get ready to move. There's a few in here. Right here's another one. So you can see how steep it is up through here. And we like to hunt morels from the bottom looking up. It makes them easier to see. Although I'm spotting them downhill from me here now. I just saw one. Oh, I see it sticking out there. Oh, see 2 of them here. And that's how these morel patches do. Here's one coming up. Plenty big enough. And another one right here. How big that one? That's a good one. So we found 9 or 10 right there, just above the big poplar. Right here's another one. Right here's another one. There's several right in here. I'm gonna have to get the knife out. These are the good sized ones. Yeah, might as well. I'm not seeing like any little stubs. Like here's one. He's been frostbit. And I'll lay him up here by this one. We'll grab this big one. And here's another one. So right there's 3 in one little spot. And that's if you take your time with these black ones and watch real close. They usually grow in little clusters like that. So I'm gonna grab my basket and just sit back down for a minute and look above me and look below me again. Grabbing the old basket. Oh, see, and I was just right here. And there's one right there peeking up. And these black ones, you can just go back and forth over and over and over again in an area and just keep finding them and finding them and finding them. They're easy to walk over. So, there's 4 more for the basket. Okay, so I backed up a second. And there's one right there. And there's one right here. So we just gotta slow down and take our time. Back up here and get this other one. No, wasn't missing on purpose. Huh. So Chrissy just pointed out one to me that was right here, where I just picked like 5 or 6. Now it's a small, now that's the smallest one I've seen on this time. That's a small one. I might leave that one. And then again, somebody might be in here this weekend, so let's just take it. Nope, into the basket. So we're gonna keep looking here. It's all because of the area. It's getting great sun, it's warming up. You got the huge poplar tree, you got all the grapevines, and nice little elm trees growing in here in places. So great indicator species, and should be some more right around here. And here's another one trying to hide on us. Back up under some ferns. Now here's an important thing to remember about mushroom hunting. If you like the patches that you find, don't take any of your friends there, not even your best friend. Because what will happen is they will take their friends, and their friends will take their friends, and before long you won't have a mushroom patch. It will be somebody else's, and they will always beat you to them. So don't take people to your mushroom patch. That's 100% a no-no of mushroom hunting. So don't do it. And I'm seeing another one right here above me. So I'm going to come up here and sit down and look real close for some more. Right here. So I'll sit here for a minute and scan while I pick this up. That one pulled a little mycelium. Shove it back down the soil. But that's a nice one. Looking here and scanning. And you know what I say about steep areas and why they're so good for mushrooms and ramps. Just keep that in mind. If you see a steep spot that looks good, get down in there and look, because I can guarantee you there's probably going to be stuff in there because people aren't going to work for it.